Hello everyone, welcome back to the Looney Bin. My name is Looney, and today's Final Fantasy VII video, I want to discuss something that I thought would be an interesting topic to make a video on, and it's this idea that Square Enix and the Final Fantasy team, they seem to, for one reason or another, have this ability to not make it clear when it comes to shipping. What do I mean by that? In Final Fantasy VII, for the most part, they tend to not make it clear enough. And I understand there are some shippers who will, say that they are making it clear. They're making it very clear, right? It's just that the other side is just misinterpreting, what the story is telling you, because my side is winning, your side is not, because my side is the way the developers are writing it while the other side is not. There is interpretations from both sides that constantly debate, and that is what a shipping war essentially is. It's a constant debate, constant arguments about my interpretation is correct, yours is not. And for the most part, I don't believe that Square Enix has a fight in this war, but they do put more wood into the fire. They put more gas into the fire. They continuously over the years, especially with the remake project, do not make it clear enough to the point where they even admit that the reason why they make certain choices is so that people can continuously talking about the game, talking about Final Fantasy VII to keep the intrigue, going. And shipping is one of those things. If you remember, during the promotion for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, one of the first trailers that came out was during the Game Awards, and they showed a lot of stuff in that trailer that showcased, Cloud and Aerith being a ship that they were going for. It caused a lot of people to either celebrate or get angry that Square Enix was promoting this in a trailer when the other side believe that they're pushing something that doesn't fit with the story that they told in the OG. They released another trailer that had more of the other ship, promoting more of the other ship, right? With the whole Cloud yelling out Tifa's name and such. Do I think Square Enix is pouring gas into the shipping war? I want to say no, but it's very hard to argue against it. It really is, because I do think they have a clear picture of what they want to do. The problem is that they don't want to make it clear yet. And this possibly is a whole thing to do with trying to keep, gamers, they want them to buy part 3, essentially. They want them to continue discussing Final Fantasy VII. They want them to continue debating, arguing, make Final Fantasy VII, in the social sphere of, the fans and, just in general in the video game space, because they want people to continuously talk about it. And the best way to do that is by constantly giving, certain ships, a little piece of the pie. And Square Enix does that. It's one of the more effective ways to advertise something or a piece of fiction, because as much as people hate shippers, the amount of money shippers give to a certain product when it comes to shipping is really big. I think that, for the most part, shippers do give a huge portion of the money for a game because of their shipping, of their ship, of the way they love the characters and their relationship with each other. Shippers are a huge part of merchandising. It's a huge part of the revenue stream that they get, because it's how do you constantly keep something like Final Fantasy VII in the eye of the public? By continuously pushing, certain things that a lot of people are very interested in. And that's where I think that Square Enix is doing it on purpose. They are doing it actively on purpose to essentially try to appease both ships without giving too much away. And I think part of that will be kind of I wouldn't say it's one of the main reasons why Rebirth didn't sell well as much as Remake. There's a whole plethora of other reasons why. But I do think that Square Enix does, they definitely do in a way try to appease both shippers and not make it clear enough where this constant shipping war does happen. Now, don't get me wrong. Shippers also, add fuel to this fire. They, with the constant debates, constant arguments, shipping wars happen because shippers go at each other. But it doesn't help when you have like Square Enix, pushing, or whispering other people's ears and stuff like that to try to push the shipping war because they want people to continue to talk about Final Fantasy VII. And as much as, like I mentioned before, as much as some people who don't like shipping in Final Fantasy VII, don't like the shipping community in Final Fantasy VII, the shipping community are the ones who continuously keep Final Fantasy VII in the public eye. I know it probably sounds crazy. I know you probably disagree with me. I know you probably think that I as a shipper, I'm nuts when I say that. But as much as you hate shippers, shippers are one of the few in the community that constantly keep Final Fantasy VII in the public eye. Whether it's in the good kind, the good kind of like promotion or like word of mouth or like discussion, that's a whole different story. But shippers are one of the few demographics in any sort of fiction, especially Final Fantasy VII, that keep the conversations going. And I think that's why Square Enix tries to add more fuel to the fire in the shipping war. And if they want to do that, it's strange, because I think at the end of the day, no matter what you decide, no matter what Square Enix decides in Part 3, it's going to make people unhappy. But I think at that point, they don't care, because at that point, Part 3 is done, Part 3 is finished, no more Final Fantasy VII, they're done with Final Fantasy VII, so they don't have to essentially appease to anybody. But they constantly keep doing it because they want, shippers from both sides to continue, or any shipper, right, to continue to promote Final Fantasy VII via word of mouth within this debating, within this shipping war. And there's a lot of flack that goes into that. Like Square Enix, they know how to sell their games. They know how to market themselves, market their games very, very much. So to say that they're probably not thinking about it or thinking it of that way to use shipping to fuel the fires and constantly continue, having Final Fantasy VII, spoken about on the internet, social media and such, they're not, they're not beyond that, They will definitely do it, especially if it means the word of mouth keeps talking about Final Fantasy VII. And until Part 3 comes out, and then probably like a year or two afterwards, people will continually talk about Final Fantasy VII, even years beyond. People still talk about Final Fantasy VII, just not in the, same landscape it is now because of the whole remake project and stuff like that. But I do believe Square Enix does have a hand in fueling the shipping war. And for the most part, it's gonna wind up with one side losing, and let's just say it's gonna be a weird day when that happens. Granted, there'll probably still be some shippers will still fight back against it, but I think it's going to be an interesting day when that happens, when Part 3 finally comes out and Square Enix finally confirms, because I do think they should. I do think they should confirm it, because the shipping war, or any shipping war, it's not healthy. It is not healthy whatsoever to anybody, right? Because at the end of the day, shipping is supposed to be for fun. We're supposed to have fun with it, right? And just adding fuel to the fire where people just constantly bicker, argue, debate, and even say some nasty stuff, it's not, it doesn't work in the long run. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in Part 3. I do believe that they'll probably stay with what they went with the OG, and what it leads to in Advent Children, with Cloud and Tifa together, and Zack and Aerith in the live stream as the ending of Advent Children showcased. But we'll see. And I do think at the end of the day, Square Enix does have a hand in it. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree or not. And thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you want to hear or, watch more shipping stuff. And, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.